Just to start off, to get you a little bit comfortable on camera, as a child, as a young girl, did you have a comfort object of some kind?
No.
You didn't?
No.
How come?
We were still coming out of the war, so we didn't have as many toys or books.
You had real fears.
We didn't have as many objects in our lives as people do today.
My blanket, my blue blanket, give me my blue blanket.
I had a favorite blanket that I grew up with, and my mother tells me that I ate most of it.
Forgot about my blanket.
I have a stuffed dog named Rover that I actually still have, and I've had him since I was about 6.
The teddy bear, I want to buy it.
What? No, you can't have Pookie. Not for all the lasagna in Italy.
When we get donations of stuffed animals, sometimes, the staff can't help themselves. Sometimes we have to, pull one out of the pile for ourselves.
I
had a teddy bear.
What's that, Pookie? Oh, now you're hungry.
I named it after somebody that I was in love with.
I'm sorry, Mr. Allwork. My cat loves Pookie. And, well, I just can't take him away because your son wants him.
So there's this interesting story report in the literature where the family had been on an automobile trip and they were leaving the hotel and they get into their car and they drive a few exits on the interstate, and the mother turns to the father and is horrified. Oh no, we left Blanky back in the hotel room. And they consider pulling over and turning around and returning the few exits back to the hotel. And the little girl in the back says, "We don't need to do that, Mommy. I don't need Blanky anymore." So at some point, children realize that they don't need their transitional object anymore, that they're able to move on. Comfort objects serve as a transitional object between the child's attachment to the mother and their growing sense of competence and confidence in themselves. Winnicott in 1953 called it a transitional object. It helps the child make the transition from being needing the mother to be there and being able to be on one's own.
Mommy!
What is it? What frightened you?
The bear! The big bear!
There isn't any bear, darling.
Attachment promotes security in the child. John Bowlby talked about it as attachment object, usually the mother or the father or a caregiver, could be an older sister, provides a safe base from which the child can explore. So when the child is feeling confident and their mother is there, they can explore scary things, they can try out new things, they can go far and explore a playground. But when the mother is not there, they're less likely to take risks.
One thing we know about human beings, both adults and children, is that when we're under a lot of stress or we've experienced some kind of trauma, that we tend to regress, right? So we tend to kind of go back to maybe a younger developmental stage, and we do it as adults if we have a very stressful period, right? We want to go home and we maybe want to curl up with a book, or we want to curl up in our bed with our, with our favorite pillow, or we feel like we deserve a glass of wine or, a pint of ice cream. And so we really do the same things as adults as children do. We tend to comfort ourselves with these kind of sensory experiences, or we want to soak in the tub, right, because it feels good.
Another thing I want to add that I forgot to say is that we know about, it was Winnicott in 1953 who labeled this attachment object a transitional object and talked about its importance in helping the child make the transition from dependence on the mother to being more independent and being able to feel safe even when the mother wasn't always around.
Philadelphia Children's Alliance has a gala every year in May called the Bear Fair, and this is our biggest fundraising event of the year. It's a big event to raise awareness. We have a big auction, a live auction, a silent auction, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know whenever you say the word sexual abuse, people kind of assume that it must be very heavy or very depressing, but this is really a fun event where we celebrate the work that we do. Functions as a large bear drive, so everybody that comes to the Bear Fair brings a stuffed animal. It doesn't have to be a bear. In fact, the kids love to have all kinds of interesting stuffed animals to choose from.
During the last time we met was Harlow and his monkey experiment.
Let me show you a monkey raised on a nursing wire mother. Now here are 106's two mothers. As you can see, it was weaned on a wire mother.
So Harlow set up two mothers. One that fed the child, a wire mother with a nipple, and one mother that just had a cloth on it that allowed the child to cling to it. And Harlow found that when he put the baby rhesus monkeys in the room with their mothers, the babies, when they're hungry, went right to the wire mother, as you would expect. But as soon as they were done with drinking or eating, they came down off the wire mother and went on to the cloth mother and stayed on her for a long part of their day. Was it really an attachment object? So what Harlow did was to set up a strange situation, an open field, and he put either the wire mother in this open field or the cloth mother.
This is the apparatus we use. That looks diabolical. That's just the way the baby monkey feels about it.
And when he released the baby infant into the room with the wire mother, the baby monkey just huddled in the corner and didn't do much and couldn't explore the room. But when he put the infant monkey in the room with the cloth mother, the monkey immediately ran around the scary object, clung to the cloth mother, and looked over its shoulder, watching, and eventually moved off the cloth mother to explore the frightening objects and back onto the mother, and then further off to explore and back onto the mother. So he could show that baby monkeys became attached to objects that were not associated with reduction of primary need, but rather were cloth and clingy. So Harlow talked about it as contact comfort. Babies needed something to comfort them in contact. Bowlby said babies become attached, human babies become attached to objects or people who are responsive and sensitive to them, and then that serves a very important evolutionary role in promoting the survival of the species.
Separation anxiety disorder is a severe fear of separating from an attachment figure. So a mother, father, aunt, uncle, whoever is really raising the child. It's a fear that if they separate, something terrible is going to happen to that individual. They're going to die. They're going to get into a terrible accident. They're never going to see them again. And there's usually no basis behind this. So the parent has not usually been in a car accident. I've seen this and nothing traumatic has ever happened to this child. Nothing as traumatic has happened to the family. They just developed this intense fear. Like I said, mindfulness is kind of up and coming with anxiety disorders in children specifically. So it's been since about the 70s, but since like the late 90s, they've branched out into treating children with it.
There's a concept of mindfulness in psychology. It's a relatively new movement that It's a relatively new movement that focuses on relaxation and staying in the moment, in the here and now. Yeah, music's always been helpful. Having my other comfort objects has been helpful. I've been in some pretty low places. Meditation for me takes place in a lot of different forms. Music is one of them. I play guitar, as you can see, and bass guitar a little bit. I do some piano work. When I'm making music or listening to music, I just feel more relaxed. I didn't have a whole lot of friends, which may contribute to why I enjoy having stuffed animals for comfort. I have a Simba lion from early childhood. The Lion King was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I've just had it so long that it's important to me. Yeah, I almost assign a personality to them. I don't know, a lot of holding on to my childhood, as silly as it sounds. Sometimes I use my imagination and, process things by talking to them, you know what I mean?
So Skipper, when I would have panic attacks, or even when I do have panic attacks and I'm home, I usually do come up into my room, because my room's kind of my safe space. I close the door and I can just lay on my bed and hold on to Skipper, and Skipper provides me comfort and kind of brings me back to making sure that I'm holding on to her and she's not going anywhere. I don't ever remember a time without Skipper. I've always slept with her every night and always bring her everywhere, so when I go on vacations and things like that, always with me. I think she just kind of serves as a reminder of being home, because I'm more of a homebody than anything else.
I can remember being highly suicidal, and you feel alone and confused, and to have something there that's kind of with you. Like I said, there's that bond that's formed when you connect with an object.
I used to have another comfort object, Bunny. But Bunny, I would rub my finger on her ear and it would make me fall asleep. And it was just the strangest thing ever. But I remember that Bunny was brought everywhere with me, and then one time Bunny was left at a hotel. And I freaked out.
Oh my God, she cried. We had to stay in Virginia for 4 hours waiting for the laundry service to call back and say that they couldn't find Bunny. And then we finally left and drove home. And then the next day, they called and said they found it. No, UPS guy came and cost us $14 to pay to get him back. And he came in this little tiny box. We were all out there celebrating.
I remember coming out and my neighbors were outside and we were literally cheering that Bunny was back and Bunny was back in my possession, because it just meant so much to me. They say that exercise is good for you, for mental health as well. So soccer is something that I really enjoy. I started coaching just because I wanted to show them what I had, because I had a coach. And it's just nice to kind of act like a kid again.
Skinny jeans on, and you know my head's on. Hey, 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 hey.
And to be back to when I was playing soccer, and I could see exactly they did the same things that I did, and it's nice to go to soccer and look forward to something. That's something I look forward to. Soccer definitely is a comfort thing for me too as well. I would put that in the same category as Skipper.
You your daddy, so okay, we're done.
I honestly can't think of any reason to deprive someone of that source of comfort?
Many years ago, I had this little girl, and she was just a crier.
And if it's a certain item that is not going to cause them any harm, cause anyone else any harm, it doesn't make sense to remove it from them.
And the only thing that could comfort her was music. I mean, she didn't want a blanket, she didn't want a teddy bear, she didn't want to interact with anything in there, and she would just sit and just have this cry, and we'll just turn to. When I discovered that, she just enjoyed being in the space, listening to the music.
It's taking your mind off of whatever is causing you that distress or that discomfort. It's like introducing a favorite object. It's then making you refocus. It's making you, oh, I remember this when I was little. And I remember how much I loved that particular color or this particular texture of a blanket or a stuffed animal. I used to have one of these when I was little.
I'm really happy. I love my job, and I would not give it up for the world. It's one of the best jobs, I think, because I feel that children are the future, and whatever I can instill in them is what they're gonna. Whatever I teach them, that's what they're gonna become tomorrow. So I pride myself in teaching them all that I can.
When my father had become very ill, I was just so impressed by the nurses that came, by the whole team that came. There was a chaplain, there was a social worker. They covered every aspect that you could possibly think of. And I had always had a heart for someone being at the end of their life and perhaps not having anyone with them. So after my father died, I decided to make a break from the hospital and go into hospice. And I've been there over 8 years, and I wouldn't change it. I've never regretted that change.
They're lacking affection. And so I will sit on the comfy couch and hold them in my arm and rock them a little bit. And if I can't pick them up, they will kind of just sit on my lap a little bit, and I will rock them, hug them, and kiss them. And usually that calms them down. Yeah. So we do a lot of hugging around here.
And then right away, it's taking your mind off that discomfort, that pain, that emotional pain, the stress of what you're going through.
Purpose in my heart that I want to provide a space to comfort children that when their parent is not there, that they wouldn't have to cry. They wouldn't have to feel that loss or that sadness of that parent not being there. I want them to be so happy that when they get into this environment, that they don't have to worry that they're not going to see their mom again.
So the benefit of hospice is it allows them to be in control. First of all, they're making the decision that that's what they want to do. They're deciding that they want to pass away in their home, in a nursing home, wherever their home is. It's very rewarding. It's a different type of nursing where it's a privilege to be involved in the type of nursing where you know that you're going to lose your patient. You know that the goal with these patients, with their families, is to make sure that they're comfortable, that their dignity is maintained. Everyone needs to feel comfortable. And whether it's an old blanket, whether it's an old stuffed animal, whether it's a picture, an old recording of someone's voice, I still have my father's telephone number on my cell phone. Because I know that if I called that number, it's been 10 years, but still I would be able to hear that voice. I have his recording. So no, I don't think there's anything wrong with holding on to those comfort objects. This life is not easy. It's not an easy path for anyone. So if you're taking comfort in an object, no matter what it is, if it's not harming you, it's not harming anyone else, then yeah, hold on to it, treasure it, because it's your personal treasure.